That's scary. That's scary. Hey, welcome to the Joint Operations Podcast. I am Brady J. Sadler.
And I am Adam.
Does it sound weird? Sadler. I hate our last name.
Sadler.
The D and the L together.
Sadler.
It's a bad combination. Thanks for joining us again. This is our 8th week doing this. Like I said, we make it 10 weeks. We stopped doing it. 10's the last episode.
Well, if it's in the tens, at least it's double digits. So.
And it's a special 10-minute episode, so it's shorter than normal. So we'll only talk to you for 10 minutes. Anyway, this episode is titled Halloweeners, but it's not like a hot dog. It's just a couple of wieners talking about Halloween stuff.
Or just people who are celebrating Halloween.
That's how it's spelled. It's spelled with the E, like
Halloween enthusiasts?
a pioneer, a Halloweener. Well, I just hit the mic. I don't do that in podcasting. It's like a...
So, let's go back in time and release the joint operations mission we designed, Putrid Request, as a Halloween special.
That is, yeah. It's
zombie-themed.
Yeah, well, that was the playtest, random playtest. Now we've got enough feedback from people, which is nothing.
But did you even finish the map for that one? Like you were supposed to do the Gallowdark
Nobody
map.
plays Gallowdark. Nobody paints
Then
their
don't put
Gallowdark.
coming soon. Just don't even put it on there. Don't even acknowledge it.
Anyway, what I was saying was we compiled all the feedback we got, which was nothing.
It took forever.
We implemented
it took a long time.
And now it's final. So that's our Halloween gift to you. Go play it. And then... Also, we're recording on a Monday, which is super late for us. This is like Monday night, 7 p.m. We're cutting it really close. I had my last book signing for my Relic Myers book tour, which was like 5 dates, 4 of which were in Barnes & Noble. This was my weakest one. It was very, very, very low turnout, but I had a couple of really cool guests swing by to say hi. And I'm glad to be done signing books because, I mean, someday it might be more fun, but right now when I have to do it myself, it's not very enjoyable.
I don't like signing anything. We've been through it in different aspects of our life when we were playing in bands and people would just like, hey, randomly sign a CD or something, or even like board games, people would want me to sign their game, which I felt like I was defacing the game box. I just don't. I don't like sign things myself, so
I don't enjoy signing things either. It's more just about trying to.
No, I don't like things that are signed. Yeah. Like I don't want people to sign my stuff.
That's what I was like reflecting on there because, like signing books. I'm thinking like, why are books specifically still such a thing that everyone has to have signed? Because people who I give my book to, because I'm trying to give them away, because I have so many sometimes at home, I'm just giving a book away to a neighbor, and they're like, "Could you sign it?" I'm like, would you really care if I sign it? Do you even know what the book is? Like, it's so weird that's a standard thing you have to do.
I don't know. I think it's just a mark that they've met the person who created it. It's like,
a reminder.
It's like a tradition.
I'm start signing people's faces when I meet them. Just remember that. Don't wash that off. So yeah, that was my weekend, which is really good timing because next weekend coming up, well, it's kind of before the weekend is Halloween. So it's good to have all my responsibilities out of the way, even though I don't really do much for Halloween except for eat candy and watch horror movies, which we'll talk about in a bit. In like a minute, I think. But before we go, anything else that happened since the last episode? In our world, your world?
Nothing terribly exciting for me. I've been cramming leak code problems.
Dude, this is a family-friendly podcast, dude. You can't talk about that.
I got an interview with what they call a FANG, which is like a big tech company. They call it FANG because it's like Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google.
Do you want to ask her opinion on that before?
What, you got something for me there? Or is that what you're talking about?
No, do you want to ask her any questions before she leaves?
About what?
I'm a very interesting person.
Leak codes?
You totally sidetracked me, man.
Go ahead.
So, I have an interview at a FANG company. I didn't really want to say which one because it's going to be embarrassing if I do terrible and I don't want to talk about it. But it's next week, and these FANG. I was just explaining this to the viewers. You weren't listening. Facebook, cake. Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google. That's just a term for like big tech, even though Facebook is now Meta. But anyway, they traditionally have these very intense interview processes where they do like live coding leak code problems, and leak code is just like this collection of difficult problems people have to solve using code. But anyway, I never really messed with that myself as a software developer, so I'm kind of refreshing myself on that content and going through this company's interview prep material, which is pretty intensive. But I kind of set aside this whole week to just. I feel like I'm in college cramming for a final.
Yeah,
right
we
now,
haven't played
so.
any Kill Team at all. And
Yeah, so I haven't got much done. I haven't got to apply for jobs because I'm so busy prepping for this one interview, which I think is going to be a total failure anyway. But it's also probably going to be a good experience. So that's been most of my week. We did play half a game of Kill Team, trying out that one mode, which we can probably discuss in the Kill Team section.
In a little more detail. Riley, in 56 words or less, you can recap your week. Okay, that's too late. You took way too long. This is podcast. This moves fast.
She doesn't have a mic.
This moves fast.
She needs to use your mic if she's going to talk.
Well, you need to leave because you're making me nervous by watching me. I'll eat this cake. It tastes good, but we're going to move on to... We're already late. We're behind schedule. This is a Halloween. The Halloweeners episode special. This is going to be an annual thing. It's going to be... That's a good name. I hope you're joking because that's a really good name. I just thought of it 2 minutes ago. Sorry for the interruption. This is very unprofessional. We're going to discuss the Halloweeners top 10 because we each get 5.
I don't think you should say that episode name.
I like it. It's weird. I'm sure it's been done before. I just don't hear it very often. So
I'm with your daughter. I'm not a fan of it, but it's okay. I mean, I think it's funny. As a child, I think it's funny. But
that's the whole point. So, we're going to... The reason I thought about doing Halloween movies, obviously, because Halloween... One of the biggest things for me is watching Halloween movies, but...
don't eat in the mic, dude.
I was like subconscious. Hold on. All right. My daughter made me a peanut butter and chocolate mug cake in the microwave, so I feel compelled to eat it, because I'm a nice dad. Anyway, what brought this up was we saw Smile 2 in theaters with the girls on this past weekend, and it was really cool. And I was like, it'd be fun to talk about like some of our favorite Halloween-themed movies, because we have opinions, I know. But I can start because I think you're still making your list, right?
You only have 2 on yours.
What? I was gonna go back. I was gonna go back and fill those in, but I know them. I was updating the other lists. We'll just go back and forth. We'll rotate, and this is no particular order because I didn't feel like ranking them. I just wanted to like pick out 5 cool movies to talk about. The first one that always comes to mind.
You do want to pick out? I can see you picking out right now.
I said, what did I say?
I said pick out, but it sounded like you said pig out.
The K and seeing the K got G'd by my tongue.
It's as a result of you picking out is because the peanut butter is creating a
vacuum,
a
Halloweener vacuum. So the first movie I want to discuss is the movie that always comes to mind during Halloween, and that's the best Halloween movie ever made. Ernest Scared Stupid. Miak.
You're just really showing off your like maturity level in this this episode.
There's nothing immature about Ernest movies. Ernest was a good guy, but he I think that was probably the best of the Ernest movies. There's Ernest Scared Stupid,
and that's
Ernest
with the
Goes to
trolls,
Camp.
right? Like,
yeah,
what was the other one? Was it Ernest Goes to Jail or Ernest to Camp, right? The camp one?
I think it's Ernest Saves Camp, or no, I forget. But yeah, Ernest saves Christmas. Maybe Ernest goes to camp.
Something about like saluting or...
Well, yeah, he had one that was... There wasn't one that Ernest Goes to War, but something was a parody of that or something. But anyway, yeah, Ernest Scared Stupid, really fun movie. It's when I was a kid, I thought it was legitimately scary because of the makeup and stuff, but it's a goofy movie. What's yours?
You said it's a goofy movie? Is that your next one?
No, I said that's not Halloween themed. That's a good movie, but
mine. My first one that I've listed on here was something that my daughter always wants to watch, and I think I watched it for the first time around Halloween, but it's the Conjuring movie, and this kind of just, I'm going to just use this as the Conjuring collection because I kind of group them all together, but I always like supernatural horror movies, like about exorcisms and, all that creepy stuff, ghosts and haunted spirits and houses and stuff like that, but I think The Conjuring was really like one of the more modern horror movies like that that's just really well done. It's kind of like my, go-to example of a horror movie that I want to watch on Halloween. So that's kind of what I picked.
Yeah, that was one that comes to mind because I do count it. But I feel like there's people who don't consider like all scary movies like Halloween themed, because to me Conjuring is like Halloween. It's Halloween time to watch that. But
what's Halloween themed?
that's what I'm saying. Some people consider, because like somebody, this was off topic, but somebody wrote a review of Relic Myers and Rhythms of Ruin online because they said they were told it had Halloween vibes, and he said it didn't. I'm like, there's a whole chapter during Halloween.
Oh, that's why you want to talk about it. You want to bring it back to that.
But I mean, it's, to me, I think of Halloween when I'm, anything horror related, especially like, scary movies and stuff. So, but some people consider like Hocus Pocus a Halloween themed movie because it takes place at Halloween. But
so would that mean like E.T. is Halloween themed? Because
I guess so. Yeah, it's like the whole Die Hard Christmas thing, But
no,
but yeah, to me, it's definitely.
I would classify anything that gives you spooky vibes.
Yeah, and I would too. I was making an observation of what happened. Something came up recently to me.
Then what's your next one? Then after Ernest Scared Stupid?
So the next one is interesting because I was thinking of Halloween. The Jamie Lee Curtis Michael Myers movie, not the Relic Myers movie, the Michael Myers movie. But it's funny because I actually, in my mind, I'm always going back to that trilogy of sequels that was like the Halloween Kills, and then Halloween Ends, which were the Danny McBride sequels. That's why I call him, because he was he wrote it, I think, and maybe, I don't think he was a producer, he was just a screenwriter, but that trilogy of Halloween movies I think is even better than the original, which is probably sacrilege to say, but I just really enjoy those movies.
Well, mine is not a scary movie at all, but I think it was one of the first horror movies we ever really watched all the way through ourselves, like in our teenage years, and we watched it on Halloween, and that was Scream. And again, that just kind of groups all of them together, the Scream movies. And again, these are brought back because my daughter always wants to watch stuff like that. She's really into horror movies these days, and that's one of her favorites is Scream. So that one is kind of classic horror also, just
I forget,
modern slasher.
In the first one, it's not like Halloween time, is it? Time of year, is it? Because I know there's like costumes and stuff, but like the ghost face.
No, I don't think it's around Halloween.
I never thought about that. Yeah, I love that movie too. I just never thought
But
about.
all the costumes people wear nowadays makes it Halloween themed.
Yeah.
So now it's Halloween themed.
So my third, in no particular order, that I have to watch during Halloween is I didn't write it down here, but it's Night of the Living Dead. It's funny because I watched the remake a lot when I was
The 90s remake?
Yeah, I watched the 90s one probably more, but I feel like going back and watching the original is a cool little tradition, because it just, and then you can watch it on YouTube because it's like it's public domain now, so you can just like stream it on YouTube. But yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah, there's lots of zombie movies that I would try to think of a good zombie movie to put on a list, but for some reason I was drawn to this one because, again, I watched it like around Halloween a lot when we were younger, and that was Shaun of the Dead. That's just because it's actually a really good zombie movie, but it's also funny. So that's I can't think of a lot of like really good zombie movies, like a good example of a zombie movie that's a good Halloween movie, except for like you said, the original, the old stuff. But
I mean, the Dawn of the Dead remake has good parts. I don't love how they handle zombies, but because they're just like more like rage infected, like the whole 28 Days Later. But still a good movie. But yeah, how the Walking Dead TV show is the go-to for zombie stuff.
I'm watching that right now because I watch it every year on Halloween.
So this makes it my fourth now. Again, this is no particular order. It's got to be Poltergeist. It's got to be in there somewhere because that's one of my earliest Halloween memories, I think, is seeing parts of that movie. I didn't watch the whole thing when I was younger, but I remember seeing parts of it.
For me, this one is actually a modern one, but it's actually really it's a trilogy. But it's the Fear Street movies that are on Netflix, and they were, I think, aren't they by the guy who did the Goosebumps books? Like
R.L. Stine.
R.L. Stine, yeah. And again, it's also influenced by my daughter. I always want to watch them. She loves those movies. For some reason, they just really strike a chord with her. But I think all three of those movies are really cool. Honestly, I would just treat it as like one long movie because it's a trilogy that all came out at the same time, which is pretty cool. But yeah, Fear Street. It's like Fear Street 96, Fear Street
97. I thought.
Is it 90? I thought it was Fear Street 1996.
Could be right, man.
And then 1976.
Yeah.
And then
1776 or
I don't know, like a long time ago.
Yeah.
I forget the exact years, but there's 3 of them. If you haven't watched them, check them out on Netflix.
Yeah, I think they were originally supposed to be in theaters. And I'm curious how they would have done that with logistics, if they had different screens for each one, or if they just played them all back to back, or that's probably why they switched it to a streaming release. But if they would have released that in theaters when it came out, I think it would have done pretty well, because it was like really popular on streaming.
There's actually an 80s one coming out. Like, I think it's just a spin-off.
So my final one, it's tough to narrow down just to 5, but I think another classic I just have to always fall back to, because I love the 80s, is Nightmare on Elm Street, the original. I got to watch that again with Riley, and it still holds up. It's still good. It's goofy but good.
Well, I was going to do that one, but it was on the list, so I didn't know you used it.
I told you. Someone deleted my list.
So I'm just going to go ahead and fall back on another one that was around probably a little later than that, but Evil Dead was one that we watched all the time. It was kind of a tie between that one and what was that one we watched with Justin Mitchell all the time?
Dead Alive.
Dead Alive.
Yeah,
because that one was also pretty funny too. So.
That was.
But they
Peter Jackson.
They also feel kind of like along the same lines.
Yeah.
Comedy horror stuff. So.
Yeah. But yeah, that's our top 10 in no order, 5 and 5.
And the reason why I find that those movies are Halloween themed, even if they're not like, they don't have Halloween in the movies, it's because they give you that feeling. They give you a feeling you want around Halloween time.
Yeah, which I think it's like, I mean, maybe that mentality shifted a lot, but when we were younger, if anything was scary, like, because we mentioned one time, I think we were talking to Ryan on the Discord about Tremors not being like Halloween themed in my head, but it's like, it's like a monster movie. It's a very sunny. I think it's probably the thing. It's like the atmosphere. It's not dark and foggy and.
Yeah, I guess I just never felt like it was a scary movie. It was just like a gory movie.
You know what? I brain farted when I brought up Nightmare on Elm Street, because like that's a default I go to. But I should have put The Burbs. That's an honorable mention. The Burbs is like another one. It's like it's weird because it's not really much Halloween or monster theme. It's just like really creepy, but man, that's a good movie. They're remaking that.
It's Tom Hanks.
So. Yeah, they're remaking it. I forget who was going to be in it, but it was a remake.
Kicked the mic accidentally.
Yeah, I'm not going to edit that out. All right, so on the topic of movies, though, let's talk a little bit about what we saw over the weekend, because I really enjoyed it.
Smile 2.
Yeah.
So anybody who has not seen Smile, just as a non-spoiler overview of the movie, is the whole concept of Smile is that there is this like supernatural demonic presence,
it's not demonic. It's more like it reminds you of how Stephen King with it. It's like this cosmic.
I know, but demonic, like demonic as in its intent. It's got a demonic intent.
Well, I think you're misinterpreting what demonic.
Okay, well, I think they actually use the term demon. But anyway, it's this unexplained presence that attaches itself to a host, and the way it does that is it infects somebody, and whoever that person is infected, it kind of drives them crazy for a week, and then it basically tries to kill that person in front of somebody else.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's certainly, you can't go too into depth about like the nature of the curse, because if someone hasn't watched like the original Smile, like that's sort of in the plot. I mean, I think it's mostly given away in the trailers.
Yeah,
but
they do give away the trailers.
But I mean, like that's not the important part. The important part is there's this creepy, like almost like mental need for this person infected with this curse to smile at people or see smiling people.
It sees people smiling at them because this thing can infect anybody or whatever. It can pretend to be anybody, and so that's what the first movie was about. Well, actually, that's what both movies were about. But the second movie is a continuation of the story from the first one, and it's about this pop star, like the Sky Riley.
Sky Riley,
yeah, and gets infected with the curse and deals with deals with it in her life. But she has like a very high profile life, and she's got a tragic history that is fleshed out throughout this movie. So overall, I thought it was very well done. It was it was creepier than the first one, I thought. Lots of cool, creepy scenes. It does have quite a bit of jump scares. I feel like it relies more on jump scares than the last one.
Yeah, well, it's hard to say because in the first one I noticed when I watched it with Riley, because we watched it like the week before because she hadn't seen it. It was my third time seeing it, and I was noticing watching again like a lot of jump scares in this. But I have to say it felt like there was more in 2. but I'm not positive. I've only seen 2 the
I mean,
one time.
it was better production. I felt like the story was more engaging.
And while the cast in Smile 1 I thought was solid, the actress Naomi Scott, who was like the star, she played the pop star Sky Riley. Yeah, Sky Riley. Really awesome actress. And not only that, like just very well written. Like her whole storyline was cool. And it had a lot of those like metaphors because it's this pop star and you're kind of getting this behind the scenes of her life, and it's like a glamorous person, but behind the scenes like pressured from all these different angles and all these responsibilities, and which most of us could probably stomach.
And also
to be a pop star, but.
It's like obviously this is a theme that you see a lot in these movies about famous people, is like their personal lives are actually kind of lonely because they don't have like close connections that they hang out with people that they hang out with and stuff because they're so busy all the time, and they don't have a lot of friends. So they have to deal with she has to deal with this horrible problem, and not have people around her to help her out with it. So, it's very, very cool, creepy movie. I would recommend if you are looking for a good horror movie for the Halloween season.
I would also say, like as an aside, again, I'm not positive. I want to watch it again to be sure, but it felt like it was a lot gorier than the first one. Like the level of gore was pretty significant.
The production went up, and
they're really interesting scenes, but there's a lot more gory than I would have thought. And I mean, luckily our kids can handle that kind of stuff, but some people might not.
Amelia cringed a few times and looked away because there was a lot of parts where it was like building up to something you thought was going to be gross, but it wasn't what you thought.
They didn't show it all. Pretty awesome movie though. So that's Smile 2. Which is probably still in theaters because it's close to Halloween. But anyway, all this scary stuff on the screens, it's kind of distracted us a bit. We've only played one, I think, game of Kill Team. It was half a game before we had to go see Smile.
Because like I said, been busy this week, but also Brady wanted to print off this new game mode that a community member was putting together, which we can talk about. But also, I was finishing painting up my Exaction Squad, which I got them all painted up. I posted a picture, I think, on the Discord as well as like the Facebook group, just to show off my work because I like to do that occasionally.
And you can join the Discord at www.jointoperationspodcast.com.
I have a minor pet peeve is when I post things, I'm never looking for like critiques or feedback because I don't care. Like I don't care if it can be better. I'm only posting pictures because I think it's like, oh, this is my work. This is what I want to show you because this is cool. I got a comment like, oh, you should put a wash on those shoulder pads. Those shoulder pads have 2 washes. I washed them 2 times.
I think
just because the lighting is different, you can't tell.
I also think people just expect you to put like a 5 layers of Nolan oil on them.
No, I put a ton of wash on those because I like the gold to have that. I put like Reikland Flesh shade on top of the gold, so it's got this red like shade to it. But it all depends on the lighting of the picture. If the picture has really bright lighting, you're not going to see the shadow very well. So anyway, that's just a minor pet peeve of mine. Like
it makes me wonder if there's like a common thread of people who post that stuff who are seeking, because like it seems like people are just ready right off the bat. I'm going to tell you what you need to do.
I mean, there are people that say like, hey, what do you guys think of this? I don't ever post for like critiques. I'm just like, hey, check this out. Like you don't have to comment on it, just look at it.
Yeah, in my posts, I usually post kind of like intentionally. I mean, I know my stuff isn't good, and I'm posting almost as a joke. But people still feel the need to like chime in. So you can make this better. It's like if you thought I really cared to make this better, like
yeah,
you think I'd paint them with bright green and bright yellow.
I've been painting miniatures for almost 30 years now. Well, 25 at least.
I was gonna say not 30 because we started like late teens, right?
25, 15, 16.
Well, we're 41, so
25, 26 years.
Do some math there.
Basically, I'm as good as I want to be painting wise. If I ever want to learn a new technique, I go study it and stuff like that. So I don't really care about getting better. I'm just trying to paint miniatures.
Honestly, like
to paint.
Yeah, like I would paint like a miniature occasionally, but if I could, I would have a little robot doing all my painting. Just like I would have a.
I honestly I'm at a point now where I don't feel like I need to get better. Like I am to the level of painting that I want to be at, because I don't do highlights all the time and stuff. Like I kind of just have this really blocked pattern. Like I have really fine, clean lines. That's what I clean lines. That's kind of what I focus on. Yeah, hit the mic. I'm good at wide hand gestures here. But anyway, it's just tangent I was on about miniature painting. So I was painting my Exaction Squad, got them all done, feeling good about that. But I don't have the data cards yet for them, which sucks because we only played half a game because we were playing the Exaction Squad, trying them out. But referencing the app was just too tedious.
Yeah, I mean, it was good to actually do because we speculated a couple times, like past episodes, like, oh, I don't think I'd want to play with this app, and it's like, yeah, we tried it out, and it is definitely not for us.
And not only does it like it'll feel tedious, but also like when you're playing with somebody else and they're on their phones, it's like you feel like you're just sitting there on your phones. It's not like playing a game and like having whatever. It's just a psychological thing. But anyway, that's another side tangent is that I made a comment like when I posted my Exaction Squad, I was like, now I do the data cards, and all these people in the Facebook group were telling me, oh, you can just print off the cards. It's like, yes, I know I can print out the cards, but
you can just design your own game that comes with those cards.
But when I'm playing a game, I want products. I want the actual cards, the physical cards. I don't want to go print them out myself and cut them out because we've designed games for years. I don't want to do prototypes for fun. So
yeah. Whoa.
Yeah, I'm just excited to get data cards for the Exaction Squad. Luckily, the Phobos Marines went up for pre-order on Saturday, so I pre-ordered those, but they won't be here for a couple weeks, which sucks. But anyway, that's why we only played half a game. But
yeah, speaking of pre-orders too, I wanted to. It's a funny anecdote. I just thought I'd mention this. This is where I'm at in my life. I'm downstairs in my house, and I see the Pathfinders are on sale. Those are the Tau guys, and you keep telling me those are not the ones that you have up in your drawer because you gave me a set you never used. I primed them, never painted them, so they're sitting up in a drawer. And I was on my computer desk, and I was looking at the purchase, which was like $60 for those box of minis and the tokens. I wanted the tokens anyway, so I could use some more Tau miniatures. But I was looking at them like, those are definitely the ones I have upstairs.
They are not the ones you have upstairs.
We can go check after this.
Okay.
Because I was looking carefully. I was like, these got to be the same.
We'll post the results on Discord because they are not the same. I ordered those Pathfinders years ago before the Kill Team edition was even out. This was back in Shadow War Armageddon.
I'm just saying they're like the same sculpts,
I know.
though.
They are. The thing is, Kill Team, when they release models, they release new sculpts. But like, for example, they're Pathfinders, so they're going to release Pathfinders look like Pathfinders, but they're all like unique characterful sculpts. The same as like the Rattling Snipers, because they've made Rattling Snipers before. But the Kill Team, I know. But if they had plastic Rattling Snipers, these would be different because they'd be more characterful. Now, I'm 90% sure, but we can check after this. And if I'm wrong, I will gladly admit that I'm wrong.
No, I'll be glad to be wrong because that way I'm not spending money.
Wait, did you actually order them?
Yeah, I ordered them.
You told me you weren't going to.
No, I did. I
said I was going to throw my Phobos cards on there. He's like, no, I don't know if I'm going to or not.
No, I know, but then I said, after that, I said, screwed, I'm going to go do it anyway.
I did not. You did not tell me
that. That was the whole anecdote. I was going to say, this is where I'm at in my life. I don't want to go upstairs and check this. I'm just going to go buy a new one, and then I'll deal with the consequences. But so, yeah, I pre-ordered the data cards for the... Is it data cards for the Pathfinders and the miniatures, too. So I have like 7 kill teams to paint. It's ridiculous. But hopefully that'll keep me busy until the Rattlings actually deliver because I'm antsy for those. But yes, we did print off it's Malev da Shinobi. Malev da like the Shinobi, but Malev da Shinobi. He does a lot of solo game content. He's also a designer that designed Pit Lord and Demon Ship, which is they're both published by Black Site Studios. They're like micro solo games. They're pretty cool. I haven't got a copy of it yet, but I think I showed you. It's like a little square. I think it's like 3x3 grid square with scenery, but it's just like you're just doing a micro tactical encounter with two like alien demon things and your soldier. But looks pretty interesting. I just haven't gotten to try it yet. But Malev he updated the Spec Ops from the previous edition of Kill Team to make it work with the new rules, and it's an ongoing project. Right now, from what I see of the document, we looked through and built a Kill Team, so we were going to try it out. But from what we could tell in the document, there wasn't a wound threshold on the missions. Like in the core book, there's like, when you're setting up a joint operation, here's many wounds.
On the intro campaign, he uses the base game, the 3 base game missions as like a little mini campaign to like teach. So it's like those have the wound thresholds, but then there's alpha and
the alpha is the only one that's available. There's the intro, the alpha, then he's got 2 other levels that aren't locked. So I think what it is like he has the missions like like outlined for the if you're playing an alpha campaign, but it's not set up in the same way as the new edition where it's like use this many.
Yeah, because he
soldiers.
uses the approved ops cards to make the missions, which is cool. I like that he uses that. The other thing that was a little strange, I think there's some artifact rules from the first edition of things like selectable keywords, which I don't think exist in this new edition. They were a thing in the old edition. So there was like some confusion about making your kill team because they were referencing rules that weren't like relevant anymore.
A really cool document though. Check it out. It's going to be constantly updated, he said, so I'm excited to see what he does. Hopefully we can get a chance to play ours, but like I said, we had cut our session short on Saturday to go watch Smile 2, which was a great movie, so wasn't that big of a sacrifice. So yeah, that was our kill team activities. Actually pretty much all of my tabletop activities. I will do a quick shout out to what was that game? I forget the name of it. I was looking at it at your house. You have a big box.
The board game?
Yeah, I was learning the rules for
the Tidal Blades.
Yes, Tidal Blades 2, like the dungeon crawler adventure game. That's the other thing I did. I was like peeking at the rules for that. Haven't got too far into it, but want to try it out because I've been in the mood for this old, that holy grail, like the dungeon crawl RPG hybrid board game that people always try to make, but that one looks pretty fun. I want to try it out. I think that's all I did on the table, really. Play anything else? Or look at anything else?
Kill team?
Yeah, tabletop stuff. I mean, anything to really add?
Nope. Like I said, I spent most of my time painting this week, so now that'll hopefully pay off when the Exaction Squad gets some data cards released.
An interesting transition, though, because we're talking about tabletop stuff. Normally we'll talk about video game stuff in the show, but like we haven't talked about this game that we play a lot, which is called Warcraft Rumble on mobile.
That I play a lot.
We play. I don't play as much as you, but I play every night.
Every night?
Yeah. No, I mean like one or two matches, but I try to get the daily stuff in.
Yeah, I play like during an episode of Walking Dead. Just get a few games in. I play like every night.
Yeah. So anybody who's not aware, do you want to do the overview or should I do the overview?
I can if you want, unless you're dying to.
No, I'm going to introduce it though. For those of you who are not aware, Warcraft Rumble is, and then that's : that's when you start talking about what it is. But in an announcer voice, like it's one of those house-made videos.
For those of you who aren't aware, show me Warcraft Rumble. So Warcraft Rumble is a mobile game where it's kind of like a tower defense style game, but you have a collection of miniatures, which are basically just like characters in the game, like characters in the Warcraft universe. You have heroes and you have troops, and you basically make every leader can have an army. So I'm going to pick, there's a Jaina Proudmoore is one of the Alliance leaders. So you pick her, and you can fill out her army with 6 different units. And the units can be any mix of different types. And every leader has like sockets that are assigned to different types. So like you can get bonuses by doing the right combination. But you take your army and you go do a quest. Or what do they call them in that? Like,
are they just matches or?
Yeah, you do a match. But there's PvP and PvE. I'm not going to talk much about PvP because I don't do it unless I have to, unless there's like some daily objective to do it or something. I don't like to do PvP.
The benefit is it's very quick. Like if you do PvP, it's very quick in the game.
Yeah, they're like 5-minute matches, so it's not a big deal. But the game is basically you're trying to destroy the enemy's base. And they're along every map has like different layout and different like themes and stuff like that. But every layout has a few different either meeting stones or forts. What are they called? I forget they're called forts.
Not bunkers, are they? Or bases? They're maybe bases or something.
I can't believe I'm totally
blanking. It'll say like your towers and your.
I think they're towers. But anyway, your towers shoot like turrets, like crossbow bolts or whatever. But you send your guys all of my different special abilities. I should have mentioned that. Like every unit has its own special ability, and then certain units are better against others. Like for example, ranged guys are better against flying guys. Melee guys are better against ranged guys. Things like that.
Kind of has like a card game feel because it's like you're playing the card. You're playing a miniature, but it's like got a card attached to it that tells you what it does. Yeah. But it's also like you have a hand of miniatures. Like it just rotates as you play stuff. So it definitely has a card game feel.
And the PvE is cool because there's instead of just taking down a base, you're killing a boss. So like like Hogger is one of the bosses. You go and you fight Hogger, and they all have different like. Some of them have special abilities and different tactics you have to do.
Environments have special abilities that do things differently.
Yeah, and then they have all kinds of game modes too. They've introduced raids and what do they call those?
What are
Stormwind, not skirmishes, but
because there's like I forget what those are called. They're not just dungeons, right? Because
there are dungeons.
Those are the hero.
There are dungeons. There are raids, and there is something else that I can't put my finger on.
What if I just open it?
You can just open it while I'm talking.
Will it be in the app?
It should be. Anyway, everything you're trying to do in the game is leveling up your different miniatures.
In true mobile fashion.
What?
In true mobile fashion, trying to keep
it
grinding.
Yeah, it's a definitely a mobile game. It is pay to win because you can pay money to level up your stuff faster than other people. But again, it's not that
called
big.
Sieges.
Sieges, that's right.
Sieges, raids, and dungeons.
But PvP is still fair because they level out the levels. So they have a ranking system. Again, I don't play PvP, so it's not that big of a deal. But they do balance things out for people in PvP.
Yeah, I like how this is one of the rare games where the PvE is very compelling because like you have all these different bosses to fight on these different realms, and like each boss has like different like difficulty levels, where you unlock more rewards for fighting them. And some of them are fun just to replay anyway, just because they're enjoyable little boss fights. But I wish more games approach it that way because they have really effective solo PvE campaign play, but also the co-op PvE is pretty fun as well. It just really makes the events feel special, But that's a game we play a lot. And it felt weird we never talked about it because it's kind of one of our daily routines.
I would if anybody's looking for a quick little mobile game to play, kill some time. It is a free game. Again, if you care about progressing very quickly, you'd have to probably spend some money. But you can do pretty much tons of the progression just by playing the game regularly, and it is a fun game. Also, the PvE is there's co-op, so you can play raids. I should have mentioned this. When you play a raid, you actually can join with somebody else, and your two armies take on a really tough.
That's what I just said when I was saying co-op.
Did you?
So, yeah,
I was not listening to him at all because I was looking at the.
You just space out. I was just.
You could have stopped me earlier.
I didn't go into detail. I was just saying that it has really effective solo campaign play, but also the co-op is fun.
There is a drawback to that though, because the way it works right now is you have to be in a guild, and when you start up a raid match, the guild chat will just get a notification saying somebody's starting a guild or a raid. Do you want to join? And the first person to joins. I think that's really stupid. I think there should be. I think they are going to implement this where they give you some kind of an invite feature, like a friends list or something, because that would make the game way better. Because I don't like relying on a guild.
Yep. So that's Warcraft Rumble. Check it out in the iOS shop or wherever you get your mobile stuff. Because I think it's also on Android and everything, obviously.
I don't know anything about Android.
All right. So since we had really good feedback about our top 5 movies we did. Like, people seem to love it. Yeah, like my phone's been blowing up. People just been.
I don't think you're being serious because
people really think that we should do more. So I think we're going to close out the show by doing not 1, not 2, but 3 top 10 lists.
I thought you were going to do a top 5 list.
top 3 lists of your top 3, top 5 lists. But we're going to break these up because we're excited about Halloween. We love Halloween. We have board games, video games, and like whatever, like anything in fitness category. Just like here's a cool Halloween thing. I like Reese cups. That's an example. I'm gonna put that in mind. So
I got it.
We'll start off with our suggested list of Halloween themed board games. And again, these are no particular order. I'm just gonna say the ones I like. We'll go back and forth. I'll do my first one. Well, I guess I went first last. You want to go first, or should I go first?
For the board games? Yeah. Sure. I'm going to give out one that probably never going to play anymore because of time constraints and space constraints, but Shadows of Brimstone is, like, in my mind, almost the ideal Halloween game because creepy Wild West, like going to creepy mines and fighting.
Is this Shadow of Bimbone? That's what you're talking about? Because
I just said that, didn't I?
I was trying to pronounce it correctly.
Shadow to Bimbone.
Shadow to Bimbone.
Shadows of Brimstone. It's a
creepy
it's
cowboy.
what do you call it?
It's like Werewolf Bar
Cth-
Mitzvah,
not-
but if it was set in the Wild West.
What's Cthulhu? What's the term for
Cthulhu.
Cthulhu?
Yeah, the mythos, Cthulhu mythos.
I know, but-
Lovecraftian.
Okay, I guess Lovecraftian.
Eldritch?
Eldritch. There it is. It's an Eldritch horror.
I didn't want to
Wild
say that
West.
because my game is
Okay,
Eldritch Horror.
don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. Shadows of Brimstone is a Wild West Eldritch horror dungeon crawling board game. The first game started off as like you're in this Wild West town called Brimstone, and nearby there's monsters pouring out of this mine, and so you gather up your posse. It could be like you could be a sheriff, you can be a piano player or a saloon girl or a doctor, a preacher, whatever. You go into this mine, see what's down there, and there's not only is there monsters and all kinds of creepy stuff, but there's also portals to other dimensions, and so you can go to a crashed spaceship or some frozen tundra with some kind of a weird ancient library there. But anyway, it's a huge game, sprawling. Flying Frog Productions is the
What's
publisher
huge
who does
is
it.
this list. You're taking up way too much time about this one game.
Oh, I thought I was trying to flesh that stuff, pad some time out. But anyway,
we didn't do this for the
that-
movies.
Okay. Anyway, that game is a huge library of products. So if you're interested in it, you got plenty of things to look into. So
Here's an example. My number 5, which is in no particular order, is Eldritch Horror, the board game from FFG, Fantasy Flight Games.
that's enough. That's
It's
enough.
a globe-trotting Eldritch Horror. It's like Arkham Horror inspired. It's the best version of Arkham Horror in my opinion. Loved it. Yeah, go check it out. It's still for sale.
Jeez, sorry, Richard.
No, Richard had his hand in it. Like I like all the Arkham
joking.
Horrors, but I think I would tell Richard to your face, Richard, that I really think the Eldritch Horror is one of the top tier.
Going off that one, I'm going to mention something again. I don't play anymore, but definitely has a memory in my mind of playing around Halloween. Was Mansions of Madness 2nd edition. That was a really cool Halloween themed game, even though it used an app, which honestly did help that game.
No, it was great. It was great format. Just like for me, it just became unplayable after a couple sessions. I'm like, I just can't do the app anymore.
Also, a lot of times it just came down to rolling this single D8. That like it just was pretty.
Well, they
smooth,
had
but-
pools, but like a lot of times you'd have a couple maybe because you have the pretty low skill levels.
But anyway, that was a fun game.
Was that your number 2? Number 2?
That was my number 8.
So,
Yes,
you're doing
it
that
was my-
order.
it was my number.
My next one is one of my favorite games of all time. I cannot get enough of this game, and that is Final Girl by Van Ryder Games. It is hard to explain. It's just a solo survival going up against all kinds of different classic slashers, like knockoffs of famous slashers. So you get like a VHS sized game. You open it up, it's got a magnet case, which is the player board. The other side has a magnet map, which is your map you're playing on. You set up your killer, your final girl, all your bystanders, and try to save them before the killer gets them. It's just really awesome. But the key factor on this thing is the modularity, because like you can have all these different final girls, all these different locations, all these different killers to fight. Just awesome game. Final Girl by Van Ryder Games.
My next one is another throwback. I feel like I just made a nostalgia list.
Well, it's what Halloween is. It's just
But
nostalgia.
This one is a very light game. Probably good for a group of people that are looking for a little party game or something. But that's Betrayal and House on the Hill.
We have the
very-
new edition.
Yeah, very Halloween themed. I mean, it's like going to a haunted mansion with a bunch of random people. So it's the definition of Halloween.
Yeah, I also got to add in for my third one. Kind of, it feels like a little repetitive just because of the theme, but Arkham Horror, the card game, it can't be fall without me feeling like breaking that game out again. It's like lately I haven't played it as much because I've been keeping a lot of my card games that have tons of expansions just on the shelf because it's so hard to sort through sometimes. But that game is so spooky season. Love it.
Speaking of spooky,
And for those who are not familiar, Arkham Horror, Arkham Horror, the card game, is an LCG from Fantasy Flight Games. Tons of expansions for it. It's cooperative, solo adventure game. It's awesome.
Even more of a nostalgic throwback. This is back when we first started playing board games. Zombies with the three exclamation points. Not really a strategic board game at all. It's just bunch of nonsense of trying
deep
to
strategy,
Yeah.
a compelling game.
got to get as many bullets, roll as many dice as possible, and get off the board before anybody else. It's very simple, but it's just it's nostalgic. So.
Yeah, we had fun playing that with the crew. My next one is one that I don't get to play very often, again, because it's so bloated, because Adam mentioned Flying Frog earlier. This is A Touch of Evil, which is very much like an Arkham Horror style game where you're a bunch of investigators going around town. It's typically supposed to be competitive, but you can also play cooperative, which we prefer, is playing cooperative. Why
don't we just go back to that Zombies one I said and just make that Last Night on Earth, because I got that.
I think Zombies is better.
I got that like shortly after that though, but it's thematic.
Well, you still have a...
I have one more.
Yeah, you have one more.
I know, but I
so anyway, that was Touch of Evil, but it's like very what's that time period? Like the frontier, like Gothic,
Victorian,
American Gothic though. It's like very American Gothic because it's based in it's colonial America essentially. So like Headless Horseman, Ichabod Crane style stuff. That's kind of what
Ichabod. That's such a good name.
What's your next one? Your
last one is actually funny because it doesn't seem to be Halloween themed at all, but it's more fall themed, and that's Blood Bowl. Every time Halloween comes around, I just want to play Blood Bowl.
That kind of makes sense because when we were younger and we played that Genesis game, Mutant
League Football,
I always thought that was a Halloween game when I was a kid. Like we played, I just thought it was like, oh, this is made for Halloween because it's all monsters and stuff.
Yes, and there's a werewolf vampire team. There's
a halfling team, yeah. So it's very Halloween.
Necromantic horror, I believe, is what they're called.
My last game is funny because it's a video game I rarely play, and I have the board game I've only played twice, but like I really thought it was an awesome game. I just want more reason to play it because the player count for this game sucks. This is Dead by Daylight from Level 99 Games, I believe. Awesome production. It was a great Kickstarter. I wish this game was more playable, but it requires you to have 5 players, and if you don't, there's special rules for how to run multiple characters. I hate that. I really hate that kind of player scaling so much. So it doesn't get a lot of play at my house. I kind of wish I had a regular group to play it with because it is very Halloween-y. Halloweener.
That's it for board games.
Oh yeah, now we're on to video games. Videos.
I think we're gonna have some overlaps here.
Well, you had plenty of time to.
I got to make stuff up.
Well, you could. I'll start so you can make stuff up. Try to think of other examples. One of my even though I have a lot of like scary games I like. One game that always pops into mind this time of year is that stupid NES game we played as kids with what was the 4-player adapter for the NES called?
The Link Up or the?
It's like the Joy plug or something. The Joy plug.
Yeah, so it's
it was something like it was some dumb name, but it was like
I thought it was just the 4-player adapter.
Yeah, I think they had like a tag for it, like
party play or party
whatever it was.
Party something
party tonight.
Something
party tonight
something something like. I don't remember.
We'll look it up. It's in the Discord. Post in the Discord. Anyway,
I'm going to Google it while you're talking.
So this game I'm talking about is Nightmare on Elm Street, which if anyone's played this for NES, it's weird because it's like you're jumping around like side-scrolling, exploring mansions that are with tons of like monsters and ghosts and stuff, and you get like levels up and you turn into like ninjas or like different superpowers because it's kind of based on that Dream Warriors movie. I think it's the 3rd movie in the franchise. But it's a confusing game, but we just played a lot when we were younger and obviously Halloween makes it like a kind of a core memory, so that one definitely pops up for video games.
The satellite wireless 4-player adapter?
Satellite, yeah. See, Joy plug, satellite, pretty close.
Same exact word.
Your turn. What's your video game? It's maybe not one of mine.
Well, it's definitely one of yours.
I have a replacement just in case.
So. I'll say Resident Evil 2, and this is probably specific to the remake because I love the first game, but the remake is like almost the perfect version of Resident Evil.
If it had 2 players,
the only way to be better is if it had like the co-op. But yeah, it's awesome. Great immersion. Great. What do you call that? Environmental, like
atmosphere.
Yeah, atmosphere. Great atmosphere. Good puzzles.
Yeah.
Great controls. Awesome game.
Mine is Resident Evil, which is not 2. It's funny because like I wouldn't go back and play the original Resident Evil. I will go back and watch people play it. Like I'll watch like walkthroughs. I just don't want to deal with tank controls myself and like the dated graphics. blasphemous for saying this, but I personally do not love playing the remake. I know the remake is a lot of fans that's like their ultimate remake. That's like perfection. I don't like how it feels with the fixed camera perspectives in that type of game. I'd much rather than just remake it again as the Resident Evil 2, the remake 2 engine. But yeah, Resident Evil 1, like the very first polygonal version of it. That's my choice.
Mine is one we played in Halloween a lot back in the day, and that's Left 4 Dead. 4-player co-op zombie shooter, pretty much straightforward. I think most people know what that one is.
Yeah, that one crossed a lot of barriers. So, and that's also responsible for that whole like fast mobs of zombies, like body. Like I think that was the big game that popularized just like hordes of zombies to kill, which I never really. I mean, I enjoy it to an extent, but I want more games. It's about just like State of Decay 2, which is one of my choices. I'll go ahead and say that one right now. Mine, State of Decay 2, which is my zombie game. State of Decay 2 is like the right now on the market. It's the ultimate zombie game. They need to make sure the third one, champions it, takes over that slot. But that's definitely my zombie go-to. Even though I love Resident Evil, that State of Decay 2 does it better.
This one was something that I watched you play actually back in the day, but it was around Halloween, I think, and that was Silent Hill, the original Silent Hill. I don't remember a whole lot about it except for starting off in that foggy area with your car crash, got a flashlight, looking around, looking for stuff, and everything was just really creepy.
I wanted to love that game, but I just didn't get its hooks into me like Resident Evil did, so I never kept up with the franchise, but the first game has some good memories. My other game is a similar one, Alan Wake. Now, you might be wondering, why not Alan Wake 2? Well, Alan Wake has us, the more nostalgia, but like I haven't finished Alan Wake 2. It's weird because I was so stoked for it to come out, but when it came out, I just got distracted with all the other games. So I haven't finished it yet, but it was pretty cool. But Alan Wake 1 is still much more like powerful to me and definitely captures that spooky vibe.
This one is one that goes way back, and that is Hugo's House of Horrors. Do you remember this game? It's an old like adventure PC game where you walk around and
typing. I thought it was called like Haunted Mansion or something, or like Mansion. It wasn't Mansions of Madness, but it was like something of madness.
It was Hugo's House of Horrors. It's a parse-based adventure game designed by.
There was a game called Mansion Madness, I think, or Madness Mansion. I forget, but it's a very similar experience. But it's like one of those Sierra, Police Quest style games.
Yes, but yeah, I remember that we were just. I think we were watching our cousin play it way back in the day, but that kind of was. Kind of our early experience of PC games, and it was kind of like, wow, this is crazy what you can do in PC. But
I think my last one, I was gonna say Back 4 Blood, but I think Left 4 Dead's probably more impactful to me because we only played a little bit of Back 4 Blood.
Yeah, it's also the same thing.
So yeah. Well, it made some improvements, obviously, but I think I'm gonna go with Deep Cut. You have to look this one up. Everyone who hears this is gonna go like, "What is he talking about?" I'm gonna have to go Wikipedia this. It's a game called Zombies Revenge for Dreamcast. Do you remember this game?
Yes, the beat 'em up game.
Yeah, it's a very like obscure beat 'em up like horror game, and you had guns, like you had like your little handguns you could shoot zombies with. But it was a oddly like really satisfying game, and it kind of reminded me of that same tech that like Die Hard the arcade used.
Wasn't it kind of like Fighting Force 2? Like
yeah. It was like kind of like this weird, almost 3D style game. Actually, I think it might have been 3D. It's been. I should have like watched a video for it. But yeah, Zombies Revenge is very Halloween-y to me.
Does Diablo count as yeah? Okay, I should have said that. It wasn't on my list, but Diablo 4 obviously.
You just did. You just said it.
But I was also going to say Zombies Ate My Neighbors from back in the day, like that old
a lot of zombie
Super
games,
Nintendo game.
It's weird. I don't always associate zombies with Halloween, like outside of my own tastes, but. It's funny. It's like a lot of that content is very undead related. So that's all of our games, right? So now we're gonna do whatever the hell we want. So I thought like, 5 things. Like it could be anything. And a lot of mine happens to be like media because I like movies and TV and stuff like that. But I'm gonna start off this one as well. Actually, no, you start off. I just started off, so you go ahead. Unless you want me to.
This is a song.
About how my life got turned upside down.
It's called Werewolf Bar Mitzvah.
I forget did they actually have the entire video play out in that episode or
Spooky, scary, werewolf, bar mitzvah.
It's like men becoming boys becoming men. Yeah. So
Dr. Spaceman. Yeah, for those who don't know, that's off of 30 Rock. It's Tracy Morgan's character. I forget what his name is in that.
Yeah,
does he just play Tracy Morgan?
I think it's just like I think it's a fictionalized version of Tracy
But
Morgan.
he has a song called Werewolf Bar Mitzvah. It's really stupid.
So actually, mine's a song. It's actually an album by. This came out recently because Stephen King Diamond actually played Indianapolis last week, I think it was, and I missed it. I was gonna see if I could take Riley to it because she'd never been to a concert, and Adam was like, "Why are you taking her to a King Diamond concert?" I was like, I don't know. I like some of the King Diamond stuff, but Puppet Master specifically, I think it was like a 2003 album. It's like pretty old now, but when that came out, it was like it was that time of year, and it just really stuck with me. So I broke it out recently. I was like, man, these songs still really hit me. Good album.
For me, I've mentioned it before, but every year around Halloween, I get the urge to watch Walking Dead again. And I think I skipped it last year, but this year I decided to get back into it because I really want to finish the show. And so if I finish it, I want to watch it all from the beginning. So I'm up to season 6 now.
Jeez.
Kind of plowing through it because I watched like a few episodes every night before bed. But man, it's still as good as I remember. Like I love it. I love that show.
Great show. Yeah, it ended well. I know like the seasons like I don't know 9 through 10, like 9 through 10, like 8, 9, and 10 probably weren't the best, but like season 11 was really good. Didn't love the actual ending, but it sets it up for the spin-offs, which is what it was trying to do. So my next thing is kind of broad, but it's the like the various Simpsons episodes that did the Halloween specials. I know like now with streaming, if you go on, I think go on like Disney. Where is Simpsons? Is it on Disney or is it on?
It's on Disney. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you can like watch like just every season's Halloween episode, which is pretty cool. But
isn't it the Treehouse of Horrors?
Yeah, Treehouse of Horrors. Yeah.
Mine, another show is actually I'm gonna hold off on the show because I just did a show. I'm gonna say candy, a type of candy you get at Halloween a lot, but I don't see it normally in the normal course of the year. Is Take 5, that candy bar?
If you go to CVS,
freaking awesome.
It's always in stock at CVS, man.
If you don't know what Take 5 is, Reese's, it's like peanut butter, pretzel, nuts, caramel, peanuts and caramel or something like that. It's so
I
good.
feel like there's probably this like study of candy because like we were candy connoisseurs in high school and middle school, but I think like when Take 5 came out, it was like on the end of like this weird like candy bar boom where they were like throwing different colors in M&Ms and they were making all these different types of like they were trying to compete with all these new types of candy bars, and Take 5 felt like one of the last ones that kind of like fell off the radar almost, but like it's stuck around. It's obviously popular enough to stick around, but it's
I mean, I don't have it very often. I know it's still available, but man,
it's a good one.
I think it was in a bag of mixed candy that my wife got, and I was like, oh man, I haven't Take 5 forever.
Great. My next thing, I read a lot of books, so my book that I think of all the time around Halloween is It by Stephen King, which is one of my favorite books. It's big, so I don't read it as much as I want. I've read it like 3 or 4 times, but I always get the urge to read it again or listen to the book on tape around this time of year. But I'll settle for the movies because they're great.
Does this have to be media?
No, I said anything. You just said candy.
I just said wild card. Media.
Earlier, I said initially. I said
this because this is a very abstract one, but it's something that every time fall comes around this time of year, like I notice it, man. The colors outside. Like when you live in the Midwest or whatever, it looks awesome. Like
it only lasts for like a week.
Yeah, it only lasts for a couple weeks, which sucks.
No, it lasts for like a week here in Indiana.
But man, it looks nice with all the different trees turning different colors and stuff, and that's great. I love the way fall looks outside.
Yeah, and like in a similar respect, I don't know like what you would categorize this as, but I think it's probably the atmosphere because like I always get the most creative in the fall. Like I feel like I do my best works in the fall. So that's
I do my best leak code in the fall.
You do your best leak coding. I will say, and on speaking of which, while I didn't write Relic Myers and the Rhythms of Ruin in the fall because I wrote it this May, a lot of like I remember I started this like 2 Halloweens ago, I think it was. I was watching a bunch of Buffy with Riley, and I was like thinking about this. So that's where that came through.
That was a good Halloween thing too. Buffy.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of this is kind of my umbrella thing. So I'll just say Relic, Myers, and Rhythms of Ruin, just because whoever reviewed that and said that it wasn't very Halloween vibes. I don't really know what they're talking about, because even just thinking about the book or like listening to the book on tape recently, I'm like, it just gets me so stoked for Halloween. I don't know, maybe just me.
My last thing is another show, and that is The Haunting of Hill House. That's a really great Halloween show.
I was just watching that like right before coming down here, because Sarah does her annual rewatch of that, so we just watched the first episode. I'd have to go. I mean, I had that on my list, but obviously Adam ran out of ideas, so he took mine. So
It wasn't written down. I didn't see it.
So I will go with Midnight Mass, because I love Mike Flanagan. Is he really doing all these Stephen King? Because he just announced he's doing a Stephen King Carrie series too. I thought
a series.
Yeah, a series of Carrie. So I'm not sure if it's like a spin-off or like some kind of.
Why did he do that dairy one?
No, he wasn't doing the dairy one, but he was supposed to be doing the Dark Tower, unless that got canceled or something. Because he was saying he signed on a deal with Amazon to do the Dark Tower, which is massive. But if maybe these are like maybe it's like some cinematic universe that Flanagan's planning.
Is the tower that big? The tower is.
I've never seen it. It's probably pretty big, probably a big tower. So that's a good time. It's already come up on an hour, or came past an hour. We're done with an hour. So that was our, all our lists. Did I give a look? Yeah, Midnight Mass. That's one. Go look it up. Go watch it on Netflix. Everyone have a happy Halloween.
Is it going to be Halloween before our next episode?
Yeah, because Halloween's Thursday, right?
It's this week? Have a happy...
I'm 3 hours late for work. So, yeah, everyone enjoy their trick-or-treatings. Make sure you show everybody your Halloweeners.
And oh, wait, did we have any listener questions that we missed out on?
I don't think we did, because I thought
we did.
Because I think our latest episode was our least downloaded episode yet. So.
It says... working on a reworking Alter Quest into Malice of Light. Is there anything else you want to change about it?
What was it?
It's talking about Alter Quest. Quest turning into Malice of Light.
Well, maybe we'll cover that next episode.
Hold on to that listener question.
Because Adam just told me I should write a book of just a RPG supplement, so I got to figure out which one to go on.
We'll expand on that next time, but also, if you are in the Discord, go ahead and give us your list of your top 5 Halloween movies.
And we'll ridicule them.
Yeah, we'll tell you how they're not Halloween.
Our next episode will be like, what is your top anti-Halloween stuff, and we'll use all of your guys' content. So enjoy yourselves, eat a lot of candy, and we will talk soon.
See you later.